Hey guys, it's Cash, and I'm here today to tell you about a few things that I went through in my targeting experience that led me to believe that the people I was dealing with were not as intelligent as they portrayed themselves to be. So I say this because when you start making these videos and when you're going through this, they want you to be intimidated. They want you to be scared, but really the reality of it is, well, I did have things stolen and I did have personal property damage. None of it was ever done in front of my face, nor was I physically harmed unless it was in the instance of a drugging. And I did have a drugging situation happen, and it happened to me while I was out of town. And I also made a video about that. So nothing will happen to you if you are of clear, sound in mind. If anything, this whole situation has taught me to be aware of my surroundings at all times. But I'm going to tell you the three things that led me to not be so afraid of this. And eventually I started to kind of play along with the whole scenario. So the first one is the time when they sent someone to my apartment. I made a video on this. I'm going to link it down below. They sent a man to my apartment. His pants were undone. It was like 5 a.m. He fit my type of person, tall, dark, handsome, but the problem was I'd never seen him before, and he was trying to get into my apartment at the wee hours of the morning. So I'm gonna take it as they were seeing what I would do if I would just let this guy come in my apartment and bang him or whatever, but that wasn't the case. I actually ended up grabbing a knife. If my door would have been unlocked, I don't know what would have happened to that man, because I probably would have stabbed him. I don't know. But the cops came, and it was after that situation that I kind of stopped taking the whole thing like really seriously. It kind of became like a joke in a sense. Like I was still on alert, but it kind of just became like, okay, like this is kind of getting like goofy. Because before that, I was like, I realized that I was in some type of situation, okay? Because I did just go down there, I was like, oh, Chicago, upper echelon, and stamp myself on it, and I'm sure that I probably stepped on some people's toes, but while I was down there, I really didn't get the feel that there was anybody that was that much in power, let's say. So whatever. So I was gonna buy a gun for protection, but I after that I was like, I'm just gonna see what happens. If this kind of stuff keeps happening, then yes, I will buy that. But it stopped happening. Nobody came back to my house or anything like that. Well, they did send people like walking by at like all hours of the day, which I can't stop that because that's my fault for living in a building where balconies are attached to each other. They could just say, oh, this so-and-so had this person over, but it was just random strangers all day, every day throughout the day, just walking past my house on the balcony terrace. So I didn't buy a gun because I realized that the game that I was playing was more of a psychological one than anything. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to buy a gun because they want to provoke you into using it. So if you're facing this type of situation and you're thinking about buying a gun, don't, because they're not going to physically harm you. They're going to provoke you until you feel like using that gun. So don't buy a gun. So another thing that happened that showed me that these people weren't very smart is some of these people came down to actually physically meet me. And I mean, if you know that you're you know things about somebody and you're going to potentially use them against them to emotionally torture a person and they have no idea who you are. I would think that remaining anonymous would be probably the smarter solution, but this person did not want to remain anonymous. She wanted me to know who she was so she could kind of create like some envy or something between her and I, and there just was none, never one, never will be, and that's it. So with saying that, when you're meeting new people, do not tell new people that just show up in your life anything about you. Lie. What you want, your goals, your dreams, anything that you want, tell them the exact opposite of what you actually want, because I found that in this experience, new people that were coming into my life and very interested in me as a person were just a means to find out what I wanted. Now, did I tell these people the truth? Probably some half-truths in there, but not exactly what I wanted. So that was number two, or that was like, I knew something was up with these people. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But now hindsight, like I know exactly why they wanted to meet me so bad and all that stuff. So situation number two, and this is where I was like, all right, these people, like obviously, come on. So I'm going to Myrtle Beach with this girl, okay? I had worked with this girl for a while, so I felt comfortable traveling with her. Now, when we get to the airport, this girl starts rummaging through her bag, okay? We're already late for this flight. I'm a very prompt person. I wanted to get on the flight. I had already paid for the hotel room. I just wanted to go. So I kind of just left her back there to dig through her suitcase. I was like, if you don't make it, meet me there in the morning, because she had this guy. This guy just showed up out of nowhere. And, you know, he offered for us to stay at his place that night. I was not trying to do that. So I just kind of just left her back there. And I said, meet me there in the morning. So I cut the whole entire line for security, which was very long. And I'm trying to get to this gate. And the TSA stops the whole entire line that I'm in and starts to search and root through this woman's bag. Now, this woman wasn't going anywhere international or anything like that. She had closed liquor, which I'm pretty sure that you can bring onto a plane, in a bag. And this woman, this TSA agent, was just taking this stick and just like poking in the bag and not even searching for anything or really looking in the bag, just like looking at me and poking the stick and looking at me, and like it was just so uncomfortable. And then as soon as my gate closed for Myrtle Beach was when they stopped the poking of the stick. They let me go through and the gate had closed. Like literally once I stepped over to the gate, they were like, you can't go on. So I'm stuck not too far from Miami. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, but the girl, because of her non-punctuality, offered to pay for my flight if I missed it the next day, which that was very nice of her. She actually did the right thing in the situation. But it does not help the fact that I was basically forced to stay at somebody's house that I did not know. Now, this would have been fine, but the problem with it was, okay, so I like art, okay? So tell me why when we walk into this person's house, every single artist that I like is in this person's house. Supposedly his friend was an art dealer. The art was probably stolen. I don't know. So here I am staying in this random stranger's house full of this high-priced art that could potentially provoke an emotional response from me, because some of the art was art that I shared in an apartment with someone that I had dated previously. So I'm in this apartment, and this was probably the most violating experience, I would say, just because I was taken out of my comfort zone for so long. I was basically staying overnight at somebody's house that I had no clue who they were. And, this art was supposed to elicit some type of crazy emotional response from me or something. I don't know. But I did get out of that situation, and you're going to say, how are they not smart for doing that? They kept you from going on your plane. I'm not a TSA expert, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal to do if you don't have an actual reason to stall somebody and hold them from getting on a plane. So that's illegal. That's number one. Number two, I still have the address of that house. And there was millions and millions of dollars, I don't know about millions, but at least thousands and thousands of dollars in art in that house. So if I was, they know I'm not a shady person, obviously, but if I really wanted to, come on. So that was number two. Hello, how stupid are you? So I'm an asshole. So I just took a picture with one of the pieces of art that I shared in the apartment with the person that I dated. So it was just more comical to me than anything. So that was number two. So number three, at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. I actually started playing along at this point. I started enforcing a no refund policy. So people that would call me and try to cancel and stuff, I would just keep their money because I would tell them that there's no refunds with this because of competing agencies and things like that. They would call me and give me money only to cancel, because then I would have to move things around and try to just screw up my schedule that way. So I started enforcing no refunds, and these people couldn't get their money back, so they were pissed. So that was one thing that I did to kind of combat that. It was just basically strategizing at this point. And I started playing. So this is the third thing. So I make this video about facial recognition scanners and how they're being used at casinos and different places around the world. And sure enough, I get a phone call to go to the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Now, if you know anything about ritual abuse or anything like that, they want to get the targeted individual to casinos to do a ritual or whatever. It's a ritual thing, a targeted individual or a ritually abused person at a casino, because they're usually built on Indian reservations and things like that. So this was the same week, okay, that I lost a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. So not only did I have the potential ritual thing going on, did I make a video stating that I know about this thing, and I had the emotional trigger of my friend who was 3 years of his passing that day. So I knew that they were going to try to run some type of, operation on me there at this casino. So what did I do? I didn't work the whole entire weekend, and I sent 2 girls that were working with me at the time named Skylar and Victoria. Get it? My friend passed away. Skylar, Victoria. So Sky wins. Got it? Well, they didn't like that very much, and they got very angry. So my targeting the next day at my house when I finally left, because I stayed inside the whole weekend just to see what would happen. I was getting bombarded on my social medias. And then my targeting the next day, they were not happy. They knew they got it. They got the point of what it was. So after that, for the next 2 weeks, I had their shills texting me, wanting to see pictures of blondes, because this girl was a blonde. So I would send the picture and they'd be like, oh, what's her name? Victoria. So I would say that they're the victors. Just little petty things like this. Little petty childish things like this. And that's how I was like, And this was right before I left. I was like, do I really want to spend the rest of my life playing these games with these immature children? Like these stupid games? Because I could have stayed down there. They probably would have killed me eventually, because I would have pissed them off so bad, because I was just like, everything they were doing, I had like the perfect comeback to what they were doing. So that's why I say, don't be afraid. It's more of just like intimidation. These are very childish people. They're not that smart. And eventually you'll get to a point where you can kind of have fun with it a little bit. You don't want to stalk them. You don't want to use their tactics to get them back, because it only makes you look crazy. They want you to do that, so you look crazy. But if anytime you get the tiniest chance to subtly do what they do to them, oh my God, do it. It's the greatest thing ever. And go to the dry cleaners a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Just go to the dry cleaners. Every week, go to the dry cleaners if you can. That really pisses them off. So, yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm going to link that video below. Any videos that I made regarding those situations, you can find them down below. And as always, I hope that everybody has a wonderful day, and God bless.